I wasn't even looking at the Marine Corps as a potential branch to join.
You should have.
Yeah, but like you know, if you don't actually know Marines, you just know of Marines and you think they're insane, right? Of what you see on TV, movies, and stuff like that. And how they scream like this all the time, you know? They're like, I don't want to be yelled at like that. That's weird.
Sounds awesome. This episode was sponsored by Re-Medical. Every veteran deserves respect, competency, and clarity when pursuing a disability claim. Of course, we all know the frustration is much more common. If you're looking for a better path and documentation that strengthens your disability rating request, start with our sponsor, Re-Medical. Re's team of professionals work with a network of experienced physicians, and they've already provided meaningful medical evidence for more than 25,000 veterans. And while they can't guarantee what the VA will decide, 95%, let me say that again, 95% of their clients reported receiving a disability rating of 70% or higher. That's because when you connect with Re-Medical, they take the time to explain your options before you pay for anything. Free consultations. So don't give up on a stalled process or settle for an unfavorable decision from the VA. Cut through the frustration with accurate medical evidence and a streamlined approach that allows you to pursue your claim confidently. Head over to remedical.com, that's Romeo Echo Echo medical.com to book your free consultation. Check out our link in the podcast section for more details. Welcome to another episode of the After Action Podcast. I'm joined today by the amazing, the incredible Nora. How are you?
Thank you for having me here, Zach. I appreciate it.
I'm so glad. You seem excited to be here.
I am.
You have so many names. Nora, FUBAR Actual.
Infidel Nora. Yeah. Fake Navy SEAL.
No, not fake.
Real, very real. Definitely not fake Navy SEAL, CAG, JSOC, MARSOC.
You heard it here first,
very
right?
Real. Mm-hmm.
Her. Right?
Yeah.
Just jump cut. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. No, how are you? How are things going?
It's been a lot. I've taken a break from social media for the long run here. I think it's been about 6 solid months of not actually making any intentional content because of the baby and new job and moving and husband getting out of the military, and it's just been too much, so I wanted to focus on that. And then I picked up running, serious running, not just running for fun. So I just wanted to put all of my focus onto that and then come back when I'm refreshed with original, not stolen content,
Well, that alone will separate you from the pack, much like the way you're running. But there's so much to get into, and I don't want to take all your time because you're here in Nashville, and as I like to call it, the jewel of the South. Best place to be, in my opinion.
It is. It's nice.
It's great, right?
It is nice.
Do you get it? Like, people come here and they're like, I don't get it. And then they're here for like 20 minutes and they're like, oh, Charlotte sucks.
No, I do. I get it. I'm just not a country music person, but the live music kind of makes me interested in it. The live music is cool. I'm just not in the headspace right now to dive into that just because of fatigue and all the traveling. But
you're talking about Broadway, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the only place I've had time to go to.
Yeah.
But everyone at the hotel said go check out Broadway, so we checked it out, and
it is fun. No, it's a good time. It's funny, like, that's not what I consider country music at all, but I know that that's what everyone considers country music.
Not everyone was playing country music. There was definitely some covers of some 90s songs.
It's all bar music now. It's all like get them dancing,
Which it's cool. I like that. But we'll definitely have to come back when we have more time to get the broader picture of what Nashville is, because people were mentioning East Nashville and all these little boroughs.
I'll give you some spots.
Yeah.
I'll give you some spots offline. There's a place up the road from here. I can actually tell you it's fine. It's a Cletus. It's a burger place. It's one of my favorites. It's got a little bar and stuff. It's incredible. There's other spots you can go to as well, but one of the main secrets is, like, if I'm going downtown, I don't go to Broadway. I'll go to Demumbrium, or I'll go to, like, Midtown.
Okay.
Like, Demumbrium and Broadway actually run parallel to each other, and it's, like, literally just, like, a world of difference.
Walk away.
Yeah, it's a world of difference. People are like, whoa. Like, there's, like, an old-school arcade bar there that's pretty cool.
Those are fun.
I think it's still there, and like a few other things. There's a place called the Terminal, and like all the video games are free except for like 4 of them. They have food and stuff. It's just something to get off the Broadway scene, but it is fun to do it at least once.
Yeah, we'll have to come back when it's warmer.
Yes.
This is not the time to be.
It's not time.
No.
What type of music do you listen to? Now I need to know.
I don't know.
Not when you're working out. That doesn't count. That's a different. That's a whole.
I wouldn't publicly tell anyone what I listen to when I run. Just
I kind of want to know now.
No. But
you literally said no. No. Before all this, you're like, we can talk about anything except that.
I mean, if you must know, and it's all based off of BPM. So, I mean, like, there's real science behind that and how it improves, but sometimes it'll sometimes push you a little too far into running fast. But so a lot of like electronic, dubstep kind of stuff, funk, that kind of genre.
I literally listen to, I can't remember the album, but I can still hear it. Yeah. And like it even makes my heart race. There's some type of trauma associated with it when I was running a lot. Because I was trying to train for this event with the Shepherd Center has this thing where they'll go and run 22 kilometers for 7 days during the summer to raise money for the SHARE initiative where they treat veterans for all their mental, physical health, and it's an incredible inpatient program down in Atlanta. But like I would train for it, and I would just be like,
it literally puts you in a zone.
Yeah, I didn't know that for the longest time, but now when I hear it, my heart goes.
Yeah.
We're running now? I thought we were just in the mall. Yeah.
But when I'm just driving or doing stuff around the house, it's classic rock.
Like, what do you mean it's classic rock? I'm just curious.
Very mainstream classic rock. Like anything that would be on just your city radio station.
Okay. Interesting.
But I have to be careful when I'm driving because sometimes they'll play songs like we talked about the BPM stuff. Yeah. Song like Kickstart My Heart. I cannot drive because I will drive faster.
Who sings Kickstart My Heart?
Motley Crue.
Oh, wow. You really are in that.
I can't believe you.
You can't believe me? I'm sorry. Well, I'm in a very specific mode right now. I'm in very specific area. Like, the music I'm listening to day in and day out is in the gym. It's like Metro, stuff like that.
Okay. Drake's
earlier albums, the newer ones are just...
not cutting it.
Just trash. I know one of them's like his take on house music, but it's like, okay, someone needs at the label needs to be like, how about like one a year? Mm-hmm. Like, legit, you're not Zach Bryan, who is what I'm listening to day in and day out. Like his live album might be my favorite album right now. You listen to that at all?
No.
You haven't heard of Zach Bryan?
No.
I can't believe you.
I know. And I know. So I know classics, but I don't know anything new. And a lot of the time, I will find myself driving in silence. I don't know. Maybe it's like
I do that.
I'm talking, especially when I was active duty. I'm doing so many meetings, talking to so many people, doing so many different things that I just wanted like peace and quiet. And before I know it, I'm home.
Your mom now and like all these things.
Yes.
Like, I get it.
And I have to decompress.
Well, it's the white noise of like.
Yes.
Is it called Noggin still? Or is it?
I don't know.
The Noggin channel, whatever kids channel that we used to have on in the background. Little Einstein.
Oh, it's Miss Rachel. Miss Rachel is a YouTuber, and it's preschool age, infant, toddler. And I hear Miss Rachel's voice and all the songs because we just pull up YouTube on the TV and just play whatever pops up. Mm-hmm. It ends up being the same like 2 or 3 shows.
Yeah.
So we know every song, and I'm just like, oh God. Miss Rachel, but he loves it. He loves it.
Yeah.
Instant smile on his face when it comes on. It's insane. He loves Miss Rachel more than he loves his own mother. So, Miss Rachel.
Miss Rachel.
Coming out for her.
Ruining families. Ours at the time, this is a long time ago, I'm really dated, but we would travel, we had DVD players. And I had this memory one time of, it's late, we're coming through, I think it was North Carolina, right before we got Tennessee. And my wife was pregnant, and my oldest daughter was in the back, and like little Einstein, one of us, I don't know who, it just happens. We had missed the restart moment, and I could hear it going, like rolling to credits. And she had just fallen asleep. And like I'm frantically like, come on, like everyone's asleep in the car but me, and I'm like, please Lord, let me find the repeat. Just like reaching behind the thing. But now everyone's got YouTube TV and iPads and everything, and I should have waited, I guess.
Yeah, it helps though when you do road trips, like you said. We had a lot of road trips before we made our final move out from the Army, but it did. It helped just popping that on, and he was happy, and
that's your goal.
Yeah, it's because I'm not gonna sing songs to you. I'm not.
You're not?
No, I cannot do that. I'll try, but I mean, to keep that up for a 10-hour drive,
yeah,
I just can't.
Yeah, you can't just be singing like Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, no. Maybe that's lazy parenting, but
Well, I'm not doing it either. So
I'm all about cutting corners,
That's how you make interesting children. Well, yeah. So let's get into you, where you're from. If you can just real quick hit that camera over there. Start with your first, last, and your social and your mother's maiden name. We'll take it from there. But now I want to know where you're from, where it all started.
I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Pull up.
Yeah.
What's that like?
I mean, I haven't lived there. This is the first time living there in the past 8 years because the military took me everywhere else. So I equally don't like it as much as when I left. I said, I will never move back to Ohio. There's nothing for me there. I don't think a lot of people want to move back to where they came from. They want something new, or maybe they do. Maybe they don't ever want to leave. So it's one or the other. So you have a kid, right? And that changes everything.
Yeah, that'll.
So it's just kind of like, I mean, I have my parents' only grandkid. I'm not going to take that away from them. And, you have your family for a short amount of time, especially when they're older. And it just made sense at the time. And we had some serious health issues with my father and my husband's father. So we just moved back.
And
closer.
Both of them are from Ohio?
They're from Jersey. So they
live in Ohio, excuse me now.
No. So my parents live in Ohio, and then his parents still live in Jersey. They're looking to move, though. So they may move closer. I don't know. We'll see. But Columbus is nice. It's not what people think when they think of Ohio, the grand picture of cornfields and heroin alley and tweakers.
The second,
everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
And Amish people. I mean, that definitely exists 100%.
It just seems like a place where industry left and it crushed.
Not Columbus.
Not Columbus?
Columbus.
Ohio is the state. Excuse me.
Yeah, you could say that, especially about Cleveland, but Cincinnati is kind of still hovering at where they've been for the past 10 years, but Columbus had a lot come in. They had Amazon come in. They had Honda plant come in. They're having another Intel come in. So the prices of houses that we were looking at were not the same prices they were 5 years ago. They're much higher, but I mean, still more affordable than Washington. We were going to go back to Washington State, but that was just not going to work for us on a lot of fronts. But it's very hipster, I want to say. Columbus.
Mm-hmm. See, I believe you, and I see you, and I hear you. But my memory of everyone, and it's just, there we go, longest time I've ever done it, in the Marine Corps, a new record, is, so people came from like two places. They came from the East Coast, and they were like cartoon characters. Like they were like stereotypes to a core. Well, my best friend is from Massachusetts. And he's like, he's like wicked. It's like being on the set of The Departed.
Yeah.
He's like, whose guy we taking? And then the other group was Midwestern people, right? Ope, is that a thing? Ope?
Yeah.
Ope? Ope?
Yeah, I say it.
As a child from the South, all I have of the Midwest is a bunch of movies that I found out to lie. Chicago's really not that nice. I don't care what Kevin McAllister's dad's job was. Obviously, he was doing well to take 9 kids to Paris on Christmas. Whoa. And then, like, everyone from Ohio was just like, oh, I'm from Ohio. I'm from Ohio. I'm in the Marines. I'm from Ohio. None of them moved back, though. So
yeah.
I have no real context for it. I think I've been to Columbus for a cheer competition.
That would make a lot of sense.
It was like a big indoor place.
The convention center.
It was huge. It was a mall, and there was like a food court and 4 hotels connected.
Yep.
I didn't understand that, but I know that I'm not made for that type of weather.
Me neither.
It was like 12 degrees all the time.
Me neither.
It felt like, I feel like it was the spring. Or
probably.
It should have been warm, but it was not. And I was like, what is this? Why is this happening?
It'll snow in April. And I
think
played,
that's what it was.
Yeah, and I played lacrosse. So the season was February to May or June, and we were using our sticks to shovel snow off the field to practice.
Is that like part of the training?
It ended up being
part of the montage training. Just like
everyone's breaking. It's like cheap plastic, so everyone's breaking their heads. But I was not pumped about the weather moving back.
Interesting. Well, say here, it's way better. Tell me about lacrosse. I don't know anything about it.
So not to insult your intelligence, I don't know if you know anything. Lacrosse is a Native American sport.
I know that.
War game. Actually, it's like to the death.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
That's where the journey stops for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a lot of people say it's like a rich kid sport just because of like a lot of times it's not a school funded. It's like a club.
Yes, I know that.
And then the equipment's expensive, but the rules never make any sense. I don't think I actually picked up the rules until I got to my sophomore year of college.
How long did you play?
I started playing in middle school.
Okay, that's a while. That's a while to be winging it.
But they also change rules every year, 2 years. But yeah, it's very different rules, men and women. Men can hit each other. Women can only hit the stick, and it's only a portion of the stick. And
when you say hit, what do you mean?
Like take your stick and just, it's to get the ball out. So you can hit the stick to get the ball out for the women, but for the men, it's like, they wear the pads and the full helmet. Women should wear the full helmet because I can't tell you how many times my teammates and opponents got concussions from the ball itself. But they can reach around you and hit your body.
For real?
Yeah, it's awesome.
This sounds like jousting minus horses.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun.
Everything's becoming clear to me about you now.
Yeah,
it's all starting to shape up.
If I
sounds like they made y'all shovel the snow to calm y'all down. Like
maybe, yeah. There was definitely I was definitely an aggressor too. Like somebody did something to me, I was gonna. It's like hockey. You can't, lift the
slash
stick.
Yeah, you can't go above your head. Slash it. Yeah,
same thing.
Downward motion.
We have slashing, so I slash people a lot. In practice, I could get away with it because I really didn't like half.
Whoops.
Yeah.
You see that?
Oh man, I just forgot.
Guys, I'm so sorry.
It slipped out of my.
Up next, number 3, Nora the Nightmare. He's out there, just spinning it with no hands.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
I was decently good at it.
What's the ball made out of? Is it rubber?
It is rubber, but it has a copper core, and that's what makes it very heavy. So it hurts.
What?
It hurts. And if you goalies have it, I think the hardest. Yeah, they have helmets, but that ball will break your hand. I have broken several hands just from shots. I'm just one person. Imagine you go through, you're defending the goal against how many different teams. There's that risk. I never wanted to play goalie. I wanted to be the person that hit people.
No, again, it's becoming clear to me. Pieces are falling into place. It's funny. First job I got, I couldn't get a job anywhere when I got out, if you can believe it. No one cares about veterans. I was in the war, though. But my father-in-law, there was a big flood here in 2010.
Okay.
Literally everything was wiped away. I wasn't here. I was in Afghanistan. And I came back, and there was, the next 4 years or so, it's what kept Nashville out of the recession because a literal flood of money came in, and the city was, backed up on permits. They're hey, just X amount of years, just do flood repair. We'll come in and check it. As long as it is flood repair, it'd be good. If not, you'll get fined. If you, build, a 4-car garage and be it was flood repair, you're in trouble, right? Even though I don't think the government should tell me how to build my stuff. But I had a mess of copper that we went to this place not far from here, actually. We were doing some reconstruction, and I showed up, and I didn't know it was a thing. And it was one of the ways I ended up paying for school books or something. Was just a ton of copper pipe, and I showed up, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And there was a 7-day waiting period and all that stuff. I had no idea that it was a really common thing for the longest time. No. But then I saw dudes show up with AC units and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this is what my old man used to talk about."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'd be so mad if somebody ripped out my AC, especially living in the South.
They would just come. Most of them used to be window units.
Yeah.
So what would happen is, this is what I've been told. Well, allegedly, what happens you hit up a trailer park, you get a few things there. You know what I'm saying? A few windows in a row. You just get up and crack them down. Just
I think we need to check Zach's basement. He's probably got AC units down there.
No, I wish. I wish. I'm always hot. I live in a house with my wife and 2 girls. They're always cold. I'm always hot. It's like it's like step by step. It's like a comedy.
That's how it goes.
It's a procedural comedy. I'm like, what's up, girls? And they're like, Dad. And I'm just like sitting on a couch thinking about like how far we've fallen as a country. It's good. No, so that's cool. So Nora the Nightmare.
Sure, yeah.
And you go to college off lacrosse?
So it was a D2, but they got bumped down.
Don't downplay that.
No. So they got bumped down to D3, so they couldn't officially give anyone a sports scholarship because it's against the rules. So it was a lacrosse alumni scholarship.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
Yeah. So at a D3 school, Podunk, Latrobe, Pennsylvania. It's outside of Pittsburgh. It's where the Pittsburgh Steelers have their training camp. It's called St. Vincent College. Half of it is a Benedictine monastery. Very interesting. So it was a Catholic school. You didn't have to be Catholic to go. But so I got a scholarship for sports and academics.
Nice. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of what I got offered to me. So it's really cool to meet one of them in person.
Yeah, no. But I mean, and that I didn't want to stay at that school though. After the first year,
Why?
I was it's just very
what year
small.
is this? Walk me through this. Don't mind them.
2009.
When did you graduate high school?
2009.
Perfect.
So 2009 to 2013, and it was in my head. I just wanted to get out of Ohio. I wanted to get away from people I went to high school with. So that to me was the school that my brother had also gone to, and I think like I didn't really look seriously at schools because I had in my head that I was going to go to D1. I was going to go to Villanova. I was going to do this, that, and the third. But then I realized that I didn't want sports to be my main experience in school. I didn't want, because I was going to put all of my efforts into sports.
When did you have that realization?
My junior year.
It just like came to you, you're like, I don't like this?
I went to a recruiting trip in Villanova, and it was like a camp, and everyone was super serious, way better than me. I would have been just chilling on the bench. I'm very self-aware about my talents. So I was like, I would still have to go to all these practices and travel to go with the team and not even get to play. So I wouldn't have that experience. And then my whole life would be, what's the next game, this season, that practice, this, that, and the third, and not school. And I needed some structure, and I needed to focus because I wasn't a great student in high school. I was good enough, but I needed that downplay of sports to let the school come first. I ended up getting, oddly enough, kicked off of my high school lacrosse team because I was too slow and blah, 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 all this like weird shit. So that's when I picked up running because I was like, you're going to call me slow? Okay, I'm going to join track and I'm going to be fast. Was I fast? No. I think the fastest mile I did was maybe a 6:15, but I had just picked up running.
Oh my God, how terrible.
Well, I mean, I was definitely in the back, and this
Isn't that crazy to say? Say that sentence out loud. It's kind of crazy, right?
My fastest time was a 6:15, and I was in the back. Yeah, that's, but I did what I set out to do, was to prove that I could do well relatively, because there's a lot of people that joined track and weren't good at all. And then I went on to run marathons about a year later and got into running and ended up always being at least top 5 in the Army, whether it was a company, battalion, like PT test, I always finished top 5, if not first.
Just running? Do you think it's because it's running or because you got a competitive streak in you?
Both.
Does that come from your father playing at Ohio State?
Somehow I knew that was going to come up, and people asked me.
I've done a little bit of research.
Yeah, so people.
The rest of it I want to learn in the moment, but yeah.
People ask me like, what position did your dad play? And I'm like, couldn't tell you.
Football.
Okay, yeah, so go sports ball. And people try to heckle me about Ohio State because I say I'm an Ohio State fan, but I can count on one finger how many games I watched this season. And it was a Notre Dame game. It wasn't even the Ohio State-Michigan game, but I don't know what position
the Mike
played.
Cincy game.
Yeah.
Mike's a diehard.
Yeah.
Oh, Mikey.
But, and I always get this one friend from the Army that without fail text me every year and like, well, what happened to the Buckeyes?
What about that defense?
Yeah, and I'm like, and I just respond, go sports ball every single time because I tend to not watch them because I have no skin in the game. It doesn't really, it's sports to me. And it doesn't really, it'll be interesting to watch good games, but I'm usually doing something else, like running.
Like running.
Yeah.
No, you run a lot.
I do.
My favorite thing is a comment when you like do something, be like, more running content. No matter what it is you're doing, more running. Get back to running. I'm here for the running.
It sucks because like when I go out to run, I'm in like a zone and I forget to record a lot of my runs. So some of my best runs, my fastest times, I'm like surprising myself, I never recorded.
What's your secret to running? Do a lot of Stairmaster stuff?
You let panic set in.
Let panic set in.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, honestly, because when I first started running, after getting kicked off the lacrosse team, I hated it. I was so uncomfortable. I was not good at it. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Granted, I set out for a 3-mile run, my very first, actual intentional run. So maybe I started out the gate too strong. But once I pushed myself through 2 months, 2 months of running every day, then it started to get better because I was just getting more fit. That my endurance was getting better. But then I took it too far. And I was running like 15, 20 miles every single day. Every single day.
What is that? Has it always been like you with that in anything? You do thrive on competition, it seems.
I like to call it toxic perfectionism.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. It's just like you beat yourself up about something and you have to be the absolute best and you will do whatever it takes to get to that point. And that helped me in a lot of things. It helped me in the Army, but it also did not help with this here.
Yeah.
So certainly, if I didn't finish top blah, 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 or pass this test first time go, I was just for a week just sulking and letting it consume me. But I think that's what keeps me afloat and out of falling down that hole, if that makes sense, and like totally letting it take me over where I give up everything and just say, take it laying down.
Is it just in like stuff that you're competing in or is it everything?
It's everything that could potentially lead to a success, if that makes sense. So it could be something professionally. It could be something like trying to, like I hate when people give me gifts because I see it as I have to give them something that's amazing. Does that make sense?
I'm trying not to make this about me, but I'm feeling myself like I'm really echoing with everything you're saying. I'm like, oh no.
It's almost like guilt.
Yeah. I mean, I have a ton of self-worth, like image stuff. And then like I really like get lost in the idea of completing a task and the success of a task. Does that make sense? It's kind of why I don't play video games anymore because I don't enjoy any aspect of it until it says campaign 100% complete.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's literally why I don't game. And like there's companies that are like, we'll pay you to game. And I'm like, so I can be unhappy forever?
Yeah.
Like I can't do it. I might eventually like get to it, but like I'm really, it's really hitting home with me because like I put way too much of my self-worth and stuff in anything I'm doing, like this and all this other stuff. But like now I'm trying to just enjoy the process and the product. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think it's hard, especially when you're like either aware of how competitive you are or unaware of it.
Yes.
Because I think when you're unaware of it, you're like, I'm fine. It's just like, I'm not the best.
Yeah, no, it does. It just ruins your whole day. And then you're just moping around. And that's really why I had to step away from making content because at the time, I just had a kid. I'm trying to get healthy again. I'm trying to focus on this new human and also the move. And it's like, I was so lost in the social media thing because all my guys on my team are doing well. We have these plans. We're having meetings for what we're going to do for the year. And I want to contribute to that. I want it to be successful and I want to thrive. And I was getting too lost in the numbers, the algorithm. it's like, this is the measurement of my success is if I'm pushing out this content that these people love. And I had to step away. I'm like, it's after a while becoming performative, and I feel like I'm having to be this character, and I'm not focusing on my real life and this stuff that's going to be long term. And this is important. Now I have somebody that's relying on me to live, to survive. And
two people, really.
Well, he can take care of himself. But I mean, again, I'm finally, I have my family. This is why we got out of active duty, so we could start a family, we could be together, because the Army separated us for 3 years, and it's like, we're finally together. Yeah. I need to take advantage of that. I have to make up for lost time. And I was like, I have to recenter myself. I need to focus on this right now, getting myself a new battle rhythm. And then I can do the content thing, which is just a hobby for me. I'm not trying to be, getting invitations places and making money off of it. It's just an outlet for me. And that's really why I started, because it was just a genuine outlet at the time that I needed one.
That's why it's so good, though.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm like...
But you see the shift, right?
Yes.
The shift is that, like, you're just online goofing, and then people are like, we'll pay you.
Yeah, no.
And you're like, yes. But I like my dream. My dream is so good.
And after a while, it's like, some people want to hire you for certain things, but they want it a certain way. It's like, I can't.
But you suck at this. That's why I'm here.
Yes.
That's my first reaction. Like, I love you. Thank you for supporting this project. But keep in mind, you picked me.
Yeah, and I can't change. I cannot. The Army is like hiring social media influencers, and they're like, hey, we want you to make something about,
we were supposed to be hired, me and you. They reached out to both of us.
And it's like, we want, I get the recruiting push and stuff, but some of the stuff was like, hey, we want stuff about the quality of life. And I'm like, I can't. I can only do certain things.
Just say you like the barracks, Nora. Just say the mold.
Love the mold.
The mold is the soldier's fault. It's discipline, Nora.
The
you're
mold
just like there and you're
character.
like, it's discipline.
Discipline
equals freedom.
Sometimes people grow up in a certain environment, and they just, need a little bit of discipline to scrub the walls, get the mold off. Yeah. And that, that's really just on the soldier.
Yeah.
That's
Amen, girl. Yeah.
It's not leadership. It's not the money, where the money's going to, like, changing signs instead of, fixing up the barracks, but it's on the soldier. But you didn't hear that from me.
Nora, say it again.
and they're like, we're gonna whitelist this and like promote it. No, well, it's just well, first off, the thing that's always fascinated me about the Army. The thing that's always fascinated me about the Army is, one, when y'all were naming bases, you're like, Confederate soldiers names only. That was like the mission. I don't get that.
Yeah.
Two, in an era where we're trying to be as best people as we can, I do understand changing that, and that's cool. But again, the barracks are falling apart. I'm not saying not do it.
Literally falling apart.
But it's definitely the lowest hanging fruit of, like, picking up one sign, throwing it over a fence that has Agent Orange on it or whatever, and putting a new one down and just confusing soldiers, and then making old dudes on the internet be like, back when it was for Benning,
It's Benning and brag forever.
Benning and brag.
But I get it. I do.
Why not focus on those things? Yeah. And that's what sucks. And to be honest, like, and we can talk about this. Not everyone knows it, but there was like a bunch of us they'd reached out to. Like, I'm not going to say the person's name, and neither are you, but like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But like, we shouldn't say the names of them, but like, they had talked to a few different creators, because it's like, I'd worked with the 101st. That's really known. And like, they had reached out and saw what we were doing. Honestly, like, the first day we did stuff, it got 10 million in reach in a week. And so the 101st and all of them were like, yeah, ship that, send that all day long. That's good stuff. And there's more stuff to do over there with like Truesdale and everyone. So it's like growing. And then Big Army was like, okay, let's do it too. And then like all of us, I know what it was that happened. All the other influencer programs got criticized, and the DoD was like, no, we're just done. We're done with this. and it kind of broke my heart a little bit.
Yeah, Craig put out that
incredible video.
Yeah, I thought it was funny, but of course, the internet is especially Instagram, hypercritical. It's just they want everything, they want everything to be serious, but then once it's serious, they're like, "Come on, lighten up."
Yeah. What's your deal?
There's no winning. There is no winning.
It's I always say it's first draft thoughts. Mm-hmm. And I can only imagine what it's like being a woman on the internet with all the different things of like, and we're going to touch on that. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That's the whole back half of this. But before we get into all of that stuff, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back. We'll talk about your life in the Army, what you're doing after, and what it's like online.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back. Hope you guys are enjoying the episode. If you want to continue to hear more stories like this and to help us grow the podcast, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and to also drop a rating and review. Every bit helps. Thank you so much. Now, let's get back to the episode. And we're back. You were just saying you were going to vote for Donald Trump. Is that true? Just kidding. No, that won't ever see the light of day. Save us 45. I'm just kidding. No, I don't want to get demonetized. Blast, cut all this, but... no, we were just talking about your life, and we're getting up to the point where, so you're really just kind of running roughshod on your entire school. You're in college, and you said, how long were you at college? Did you finish?
Yeah.
So you got 4 years there. Mm-hmm. Had you joined the military yet?
No.
Okay, so put me in the area of operations. What timeline are we looking at?
So my junior year, I just had the idea, I'm going to join the Navy. And this is, 2011, 2012, and at the downsizing of the military.
Literally right after I left.
Yes. So I called up the Navy, and they said, cool, we'll take you. Do you have any tattoos? And I was like, yeah, I have one on my back. Never going to see the light of day in anything I wear. And they said, sorry, we can't take you. So junior year, towards the end, the Marine OCS recruiters came to our school, and it was fall ball, and
they moved right towards the athletes.
Yeah. So they had three. I think it was like baseball, women's basketball, and women's lacrosse. Do this. I don't really know what it was. I don't know if it's like an actual physical fitness test.
It's an augmented PT test. I know a lot about it because my old platoon commander was an OSO.
Okay.
Was an OSO, Operations Selection Officer. I think's what they're called. Mm-hmm. But he would do that at like Colorado State and stuff like that. And he would just go around. Can you do they make you do pull-ups or make you hang?
No. So it was I want to say 800-meter run.
Oh, that's a CFT. Never mind. 800-meter
run, the ammo can above your head.
Not what you would do in combat. Drives me insane. Keep going.
And then the, there were some cones set up.
The obstacle course doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
And you're like doing a fireman
you drag
carry.
A thing and you like throw a grenade and
Yes, yeah.
The combat fitness test. They implemented it right as I was leaving, and I was like, this is not what I would do.
Well, I mean, they did that, and I didn't know anything, and I wasn't even looking at the Marine Corps as a potential branch to join.
You should have.
Yeah, but like you know, if you don't actually know Marines, you just know of Marines, and you think they're insane, right? Of what you see on.
Fair.
TV, movies, and stuff like that. It's kind of like, I don't. That's too much for me. And how I scream like this all the time, Then I'm like, I don't want to be yelled at like that. That's weird.
Sounds awesome. Yeah.
But they did this competition, and this was at my peak of the running, the working out, and all that stuff. I won. I beat everybody.
Of course you did.
Yeah. So, and it was cool because I was like, I want the swag. They had the duffel bag with the water bottle, the lanyard, all this stuff, the coffee.
We do that right.
Yes.
And we cut budget on everything else in the Marine Corps, but we will get you some swag, stuff we all get.
I was walking out of there with it. There was no way I wasn't. So I
give you a pulley shirt. They give you the shirt with like the eagle globe and anchors.
Yeah, and the back of the shirt said pain is weakness leaving the body kind of thing. So I got that, and I was happy, and I was like, okay, I'm going to leave. And my coach dined me out. My lacrosse coach is like, she's looking to join the military, and the Navy just denied her. And they look at me, and they're just like, they're rubbing their hands together like, So I opened up to them, and I was like, I'll consider it. So I start doing the medical stuff, going over do I qualify medically? And at the time, I had a thyroid issue, but it was such a minimal medication I was on. I could have gone without it. But, I'm being honest, and I tell them, and they DQ'd me.
On that? See, that does make sense during that era. So we're like 2011 now, right? So
2012.
It's 2012. So background is that I got off active duty 2011. I have tattoos everywhere, and outside of PT gear in particular. And I had left active duty, and I was kicking around the idea of staying with the reserves, and when nobody was looking, I'd be like, hey. But they combined all of the engineer units and all the Marine Corps units and everything, and they were looking for ways to get rid of people, to be honest. And so they started, if you had like tattoos outside of PT gear, you were like non-promotable. Yeah, like all this stuff, like literally just like shedding. They were like, get rid of people that have been deployed was basically it, to change the mindset of like a peacetime military, which was weird because we were still very much so in the throes of Afghanistan.
Yes.
So it doesn't make sense, especially when they were looking for officers, female officers in particular, to push through their physical programs. I don't know why they would ever say no to you.
Well, they said no to me.
It's stupid.
I bet they're kicking themselves now, huh?
No, they are, but like it just shows that like there was just this weird time where they're like, get rid of this, do that, but like they just had no idea what they were doing, like at all. And like it's kind of still that way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just from all I know from the people recruiting, doesn't seem to be going well anywhere.
No, not right now.
I mean, they're reaching out to people like us to be like, can you talk about it?
Yeah, like, wow, you're reaching out to me? Oof, you're really hurting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got DQ'd, and then I graduated school, and my parents, sigh of relief. Oh, thank God you're not joining the military. But I gave the corporate world a year and a half and didn't jive with it, obviously.
Doing what?
I started initially working at Nationwide headquarters, and I was receiving calls from people with 401ks trying to get their money. And I did not really like that, getting screamed at all the time.
Yeah.
So I left that, and then I worked at a company called, it's a nonprofit. It's a lobbyist called Sportsmen's Alliance, and they lobby for hunting rights in Ohio and around the country. So I really liked that, but I was still doing very much an office job. Yes, it was a little bit different. And it was smaller, so that was cool. And I really like hunting and doing.
You do.
They did, yeah. So awesome. I haven't hunted in a while, but bow hunting. But they did. I got into, because of that company, sporting clays. So I enjoy that. I haven't done it in a while just because of the moving and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it was still, I'm sitting in an office doing the same thing every day. There's really no going up from there. So I joined the Army, and I had it in my head because I was a sociology major in college that I was going to go in enlisted as a behavioral health specialist, and then eventually go the officer side once I got my master's in social work and do that, because my cousin was 11 Bravo, took his own life in 2015.
I'm so sorry.
It was tough because of the family structure. Mm-hmm. He didn't get a lot of help at home, and his dad, my dad calls his brother and says, "Are you coming to the funeral?" And he said, "No, don't care." So it was one of those things like this person doesn't have the home life support. Can they get the support in the community that is the military?
Outside,
because it is a community. Mm-hmm. So I really wanted, I had a passion to do that and get into the mental health aspect, but I ended up going in as a medic. They didn't have the 68 X-ray. They had 68 whiskey. So I went in as a medic, and I still had that in my mind. So I applied for OCS and was going to do the master's thing, but I experienced a lot of compassion fatigue because we did have soldiers that had mental health issues, or they were getting cancer and given, a life sentence.
Why.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like, is there something, because a lot of soldiers get kicked back from the clinic, like, oh, you're just, trying to get out of PT and all that stuff.
Malingering? Is that still a term?
Malingering, yes. Yeah. And a lot of those soldiers end up actually having an underlying condition. And I took a lot of that on, and I stepped back and I said, can I actually do this when I am in the behavioral health arena. If I am the person talking to this person, will I be able to handle that trauma dumping? Because that's what it ends up being. You're unloading your issues to see a solution. And I said, I don't think I can do that. But what can I do to contribute more to the Army? And at the time, I was in an aviation unit, which is mostly officers, and they all were confident that I could be a great officer. So I went the officer route, and I ended up regretting it because I am somebody who's built to be enlisted just because of that. It is, I mean, not to dime out officers, but I like to compare it to like the LinkedIn effect. It's just, I'm great and I'm doing this and our numbers are great. Well, how did you get there? Everyone under you, but they don't let anybody know that. It's just, I'm this great officer. I am a leader of this many people, and I've accomplished this.
Isn't that the motto of MOA? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm great. Nobody knows. Yeah.
And I can't ever buy into that because it seems malicious in a way. And I really enjoyed being an NCO for the short time that I was an NCO, to see a soldier click and figure it out and find out what they like to do and see them want to do more. And I feel so guilty about my first soldier. And I skipped out to OCS pretty much right away, almost a year after getting my 5. And he was left to another E5 that was kind of tapped out and not really caring about the Army. And the soldier ended up getting out because he wasn't being taken care of. I kick myself all the time. It's like, if I had given this soldier another year, because he was a great medic. He has a great backstory on why he joined and had the drive to go and be a great NCO himself. And he just never got the help to get there, because you never get anywhere without anyone's help.
Yeah.
So
no, that's, I mean, that's, dude, you're hitting a lot of stuff. Like, you reminded me of something my old squad leader once said to me. He said, treat this as a profession from the time you start to the time you're done, because not everyone gets asked to stay, but everyone will want to stay when it's almost time to leave. And I just remember that being like, oh, okay. Like when it came time for me to re-enlist, I actually got asked to re-enlist as opposed to people who were like, please take me.
Yeah.
And that put me in a different position where I was like, ended up saying no, obviously, but like the military, it seems, especially like one time enlistment people like me, whatever you want to call them, I don't know what it is, but like they get to a place where they're like, oh, I didn't take this seriously enough and I probably should have, right? And so that's what you're talking about, like someone who's like undervalued, underutilized, especially when dealing with like the burnout of like was this like 13, 14, 15 era time frame?
This was 2016.
2016. So like a lot of people are like, oh, back in Afghanistan, you know, like they're just kind of like whatever, riding it out. I really like that, like you think about that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because that's what's so cool about being enlisted too, is like you're there, you're hanging out with your friends every single day. There's a structure to it and a hierarchy, but like no one else gets to do that. And that is what I desperately miss now, is like hanging out with some of my best friends every single day, no matter what we were doing. It was just like, okay, we're here.
And it's a different kind of connection, because it's not just like you're going out having a good time with people. It's you're stuck someplace having a not so great time. And it's that trauma bonding, and it's you get out from underneath whatever issue it was at the time, and it's a different kind of connection. But yeah, I could genuinely say if I had remained enlisted and kept going with the medic thing, that I probably would still be in at this point in active duty. But I had a great time as a PL, I can say that. And I did have a lot of great officers that I worked for. But just seeing the pipeline for an officer, I like to be with the troops. I don't know, they're funny. Like, it makes work fun. Seeing them, again, with like my soldiers, things click, they do well, see them grow. It makes things worth it. It's like being a teacher, I like to say, and so watching that development is what makes you feel like you're doing something. Whereas I make it past company commander, what am I doing? I'm on staff. I'm doing slides. I'm doing meetings. I'm not doing anything that's like what I can see, no tangible for the greater good. It's just I'm doing this office work, and that's, it's on me, right? It's in the name, officer, office. Great. And that's what I was trying to get away from. I wanted to get out of the office setting, and I just put myself back in there. If I could be a perpetual platoon leader, oh my God.
I made a joke with the guy, the retention specialist. I was like, if you can make me a squad leader for 20 years, I'll never leave. I was like, I'll retake whatever country you want. Just like give me a call sign. Like, just don't make me leave. Please don't make cops call it going inside. And so I use that a lot. I'm like, please don't make me go inside. Please don't make me count stuff. I don't want to count stuff. Beans, bullets, and Band-Aids. No, just like give me how many troops do I got? You know, checkpoint 1, checkpoint 3. That was my dream forever and ever and ever. But no, and it's so abrupt too. That's what people don't get too, is like you're doing the best part for the smallest amount of time, and then you're like, don't you want to, isn't this fun? Isn't this, and you're still at the will of 18-year-olds who are reckless, but you're just like indoors being like, so you got married, huh? That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I asked you not to. I said, please don't do that. You have less than $200 in your bank account. Like, why did you do this? I know you got paid yesterday, but how did you do this? Like, it's just a lot of that, and it's just, I don't know, people don't get it.
Yeah. No, I wish I could have, I wish there was like an option to be maybe like an instructor or like indefinitely be in the schoolhouse somehow, where maybe I'm not instructing, but I'm in that environment where I still have that communication with everyone. Because that genuinely, and my best time. My platoon sergeant and I had a great working relationship. We meshed, and everyone wanted to be in our platoon. And that's the true measure of our success.
That's it. When they're like, we want to be the LT.
People are like, please trade me for someone. And we were doing trades for people that, had friends in other platoons. And
for real?
Yes. It was like we were creating our dream team, and watching our soldiers hang out outside of work.
Yeah. That's what's up.
And they were truly, like, a lot of them either got out or went to a different duty station. They still, I watched their Instagram stories. They're still posting
That's a testament
pictures.
to you.
Well, but I think both my platoon sergeant and I, we created that environment where they felt comfortable enough to talk to us, to their squad leaders. We had great squad leaders. There were issues every now and then, but that's just a part of being a human. But I could genuinely say our platoon enjoyed being the platoon they were and having the NCOs they did, despite the op tempo, which was insane. These dudes are working every day, weekends included. Yes.
Undervalued.
And we're trying to put awards up for them for running an insane amount of missions back to back with no breaks. And they're like, oh, so you just want to award them for doing their job.
Dude, the number one phrase that has broken the will of the military is you want to reward them for doing their job.
It's like, what else am I going to... they're doing their job. They're doing it well. And they're keeping their head above water instead of crumbling and becoming the dirtbag soldier, which is what happens when you burn them out. They're overworked and overtired, and they're underappreciated because they don't get a freaking award for something.
As someone who's an officer and enlisted, I want your opinion on this, because I heard every award I pushed in got kicked to the dust. And I feel like a lot of it was because let's just call them lifers, didn't feel like wasting the awards on people that they were like that weren't going to stay in, which my argument was like, no one really does anything for awards, but if there is the acknowledgement and recognition of what you've done is beyond the actual regular stuff, then that might make you want to stay, right? That was my argument of like, why are we gatekeeping all this stuff? Because ultimately, like I had one kid, we had an incident where like a vehicle came through, they hit an IED, nobody knew what to do, but like a bunch of dudes, like I put on gear and like kids that didn't even, they were like, what do we do? And I was like, put your stuff on, we're gonna go get them. And like we just ran like out there in the middle, got one of my best friends out of a turret, and like none of them blinked, and they're like, oh, that's just normal stuff. And it bothers me to this day. Like I sent statements and stuff, and like again, no one does anything, but there are moments where like you don't have to do that, but they didn't blink. Like it was incredible, to be honest. I don't know. I want to, like, from your perspective, do I feel like that's one of the biggest problems overall is that it's not knocking at you, but officers can write their own awards, and they do a lot of end of tour. Hey, there you go. A lot of like, let's get that career where it's got to be. Let's throw a little bronze star at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think what is happening right now and will probably no longer be a problem when my peers are in the position to approve those awards is those who are approving awards are used to seeing that. They're used to seeing awards for crazy feats on deployments or, stuff in a battle zone or whatever. And now everyone's stateside. So how do you compare what is successful so they don't see that they don't have that opportunity to like, oh, they saved their battle buddy, like that's just not what is happening. You have a different army and they're not adjusting that sight picture to see what is being accomplished at the platoon level, what is considered carrying the load of the platoon. And we had soldiers that were working harder than everyone else, and we tried to put that in a numerical value, which is obvious when you see it on paper, but because it's not something like saving somebody's life or creating a new SOP. Yeah. They disapprove it. And that
but they didn't even approve these though. That's my problem.
Yeah.
And the people that were there, they'd never seen any of this stuff. They came from like other places. Like it just
I think that's the thing is like they have it in their mind that this is the standard for what we approve an award for, and they just don't. I don't know, but it could. An award could get somebody to stay in, but at the end of the day, I think their human needs being recognized and taken care of is what's going to keep them in. And an award might not keep them in, but it may keep them mentally stable.
I think it changes the whole environment.
It does.
If like, and when I say award, I don't just mean like awards. I mean like promotions, recognition, like any of it. Like the outward acknowledgement of like, I see you, I appreciate you, and like that doesn't go in like I don't want to hear about my pros and cons. I don't know if y'all have it, but like it'd be like you got a 4.9 out of 5 or what? Yeah, who cares, bro? But like, what if we promoted that PFC to Lance Corporal 6 months ahead of what he's supposed to be, E2 to E3. That's not much really, but like that more money, that changes his career forever kind of. He could pick up NCO faster. Like all these things happen because because you're like being a good leader, because being a good leader is looking for someone to take your job. Right?
I agree.
That's what you're supposed to do.
I agree.
But most people are like, oh, well, if he does that, then like, I don't know. It's all fame and mentality and it carries on into the internet world, which I promise we'll talk about. But, I want to ask you a question, and you can push back or stop. But like, the work you were doing, especially when you were at the medic level, and 68 Whiskey, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you think? It's just an observation I have. Do you think that a lot of that driving force of putting you into the position to want to help people and reach people, and like talking about the community stuff, do you think a lot of that came from your cousin? Seeing the gaps of like what he didn't have and the stuff, or like, because your compassion for caring, it seemed to me, it seems to be driving that.
Well, I mean, like a lot of people say, I was raised a certain way to actually, there's somebody else at the end of what you're doing. What you do affects other people. So, but I don't think that pushes people to be compassionate or empathetic to everyone. My cousin was much older than me. I knew him and had spent some time with him, but I wasn't close with him. But it was the overarching scenario of I knew his dad, and his dad, my uncle, was not a good person. And seeing the direct correlation, because the way he went out was awful. It wasn't just a simplistic, take yourself out thing. The police were involved. There was hostages involved. And I was like...
And we can cut this if you don't want to.
No, it's fine. Okay. I mean, like, the family knows. And the family knows my uncle. And just seeing the lack of any kind of emotion or caring for your own child, I just thought to it shook me. I was like, how is that possible? Because I knew who this person was. And at some point, that was there. That existed. A care for anyone that was family or anyone at all. And I ran through scenarios of what could have happened and how could somebody turn into that. But it all comes down to people, how they treat each other, and just simply involving somebody, even if it's pushback, right? Like, I don't want to come to family gatherings or whatever. You still have to find what reaches them, and you can. Everyone can be saved. Everyone can be reached and touched to a certain degree. But it did. I thought about that, and I'm like, you hear stories about the military. It wasn't a secret, especially around that time. People were coming back from, being overseas and getting out, and that it's a new. That happens with everywhere. They come back and try to readjust, and can it be mitigated before they get out? Can they be helped, and will they recognize that somebody cares about them? It doesn't have to be your blood family, and there's plenty of people out there that don't have any communication with their family, but somebody out there cares for you and will recognize your worth. And how do I do that without tapping out my energy totally? So that event, it was something totally unexpected, but not surprising considering the upbringing he had, the things because he was in 2001 to 2004. So it was right at that. And he, got hurt. VA is not helping him. And it was one of those unfortunate common scenarios. And it's just, can we eliminate a factor from it? Can we eliminate some pressures from the personal life? Or can we do something at the organizational level at the Army to help this person realize that they need to stay? So I really brought that with me. I did have the entire direction that I was going to go into behavioral health and do whatever I could. But I realized that I'm just not that kind of person, because I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy meeting people. I may not be the person that goes out on Broadway and just, parties it up, but
that's not real.
It isn't. And I think it's very superficial to that point, to you meet friends at a bar, but that's what you end up doing with those friends, is always just drinking. And I really enjoy learning who people are and where they come from, because everybody they'll have similar aspects to their life, but everyone is different. And I think that's interesting, and that shapes you. If you learn about somebody, that shapes you as a person.
I mean, for me, I'm just gathering, this is the first time we've met in person. And again, I can't thank you enough for humoring me on just like sharing this with me. Like, you're the fucking best. But like, I get this sense of like, you're someone, especially talking about like accomplishing things, that like you really do like care. And I haven't heard many officers ever talk about people and stuff. So like, to me, I get the sense that like, I don't know, that like you really enjoy watching people be their best.
I do. It's fun.
It is fun.
I like when people
But most people don't understand that though, because there's a bunch of people on the internet who like teach you how to be a leader, and then you're like, were you a leader? Like there is a big difference. Like being in the military doesn't make you a leader at all.
No.
Which is why every general fails at their jobs, other than being board members at Raytheon, and most officers lie about their service. So like, sorry, but because they confuse officers in particular, and you can say, I feel like you'll ship this too, is that officers in particular confuse them giving orders with being a good leader, and it is not the same as someone who has led people outside of the military. Guess what people do oftentimes is they don't like a job. They fucking quit.
Yeah.
Like, and they don't,
well, but I was a general, and I wasn't.
No, you weren't, dude. You were just an old guy who just moved up the top. It doesn't, downgrade the service, but like that doesn't mean like you need to be the head of HR. You can't just be like, what do you mean? Like,
I truly believe that even junior soldiers can be leaders just by influence, right?
Yeah.
That's what it ends up being, is influence. And it doesn't take a freaking book. Like, I'm sick of officers, like the battalion commanders having every single one has a book club. And like, I get it to an extent, but you're reading leadership books. And that's never going to make somebody care, which is what you need. You have to care about people because you are nothing without the people under you.
Yeah.
They make you. So if they don't trust you, they're not going to do anything for you. A book isn't going to save you from that. So let's stop talking about this as leadership and buying stuff on LinkedIn to make you appear as a leader instead of just doing the damn thing. They just won't do it. And that's what ultimately burned me out is I see, and there's so much effort into LPDs and I get it too. So, it's like so LPDs and, NCOPDs are the officers and NCOs, either a sergeant major or your battalion commander will have a powwow. They'll bring you in and it's to talk about some tools that will help you be a great leader.
Miss me.
Yeah, but I mean, some of them are helpful. So NCOPDs would a lot of times be like how to write an NCOR, which everybody struggles with, the evaluations.
Is this like personal military education, like PMEs and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just how it's development. And it's just how do we become a good leader? And a lot of times they don't talk about the hard part, which is, you need to talk to your soldiers. And people are like, oh yeah, I talk to my soldiers. Hey, where are you from? Okay. That's very surface.
Good to go, Johnny.
It's like, oh yeah, you're from this, that, and the third. You talk about family members, you have dogs, blah, blah, blah. You live in the barracks. Okay, how do you talk to a soldier that lives in the barracks? They don't have all this surface, like the cliche things like, oh, what
First off, it better be at parade rest. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you don't ask them, as if it's like a first date. That's weird. It's like, hey, where are you from? What school did you go to? It's like, yeah, you can ask them what do they do for fun, but ask them what they did on the weekend. They'll tell you. And then you ask about what they told you. Oh, so like you're into, let's say, bull riding. A lot of dudes in Texas did that. Like, I did bull riding, or like I went and I do ATVs. Okay, what? I don't know anything about that. Like,
so most officers these days will be like, I watch Yellowstone as well. Let's go down to the train station.
Yeah.
Get it? We're the same.
But I think where the disconnect is how, what they ask, yes, but how they ask it. And it's always, they are afraid to, I don't want them to think I'm their friend. Like,
that's a big officer thing.
It's like thing. We're not just like senior NCOs. We're not freaking buddies. Hey guy.
Hey battle.
Yeah.
Hey battle.
And it's you can talk to them as a human without it being like, oh, make sure you like know that I'm in charge of you. They know that. That's why we have rank structures, and they're going to always call you ma'am, sir, sergeant, whatever. But you have to talk to them in a genuine way. So that's when I would always bring in humor. Everybody understands humor. Well,
that's when FUBAR started to come up, huh? Is that when she started to appear?
I think it was always there. Definitely as an NCO. Because I thought, like,
you like walking around, like catching a heater, being like, "What's up, battle? Okay, come here. Hey, what's up with that? Why does that uniform look like a octopus? What are you doing?"
Yeah, and that's
really?
what ended
Was
up.
that you?
I not the cigarette thing, but like, yeah, I mean,
I did.
roasting them,
Yeah,
like,
come here. Yeah.
but like,
Dude, I was the king of that. Never degrading
Roasting?
people, like
roasting them so that they know it's not serious.
I would never attack people because that stuff sticks with people. And like when I came in, we call them boots. I don't know what y'all call it. Joes? Is that when they're fresh out of boot camp or whatever? Like my guys were gnarly. They had been to like Fallujah, Ramadi, and like we showed up to the barracks like pulling all of our gear. And they were catcalling us, throwing stuff at us. We dug fighting holes. I got hit in the head, and I was just like there. I didn't do anything wrong. I just was born in 1987. So my shift was that like I'm never gonna be degrading, but I'd be like, hey, I need a working party. If you still remember what the words breakfast from boot camp, get over here. Like I would say stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? Or be like, if I've been in the Marine Corps longer, if I've been overseas longer than you've been in the Marine Corps, get over here. Like that would just be it. But I would never be like, you know what? No one likes you and your dad's kind of a loser. Because like we're all there, and we all probably have that in common anyways. But I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, no, I think I remember my first month, and it was weird because I got to Fort Bliss right at the height of COVID. It was April 2020 when I got there. So there were a lot of changes, and like the working environment was just odd. But of course, you have a new PL come in, you have this idea of lieutenants, and nobody knows anything about me. And my soldiers not like me because I was.
They didn't like you?
No, not right out the gate, because when I got there, I had to make sure like what was happening, what I was in charge of, what I had to sign for, and that was serious for me. So I have to make sure like I know what I'm doing before I get personable. And
how many people did you have in your platoon?
60 to 67.
Yeah, people need to understand that. Most people don't get that.
It's a lot.
Platoons are like usually, I mean, from infantry, it's like 30 to 60. And depending on what your job is.
It was
and you're in charge of them.
Yeah, it was.
No matter what happens.
It was a larger than average platoon. It was like the size of a company, and it was a HET company, so we had 24 HETs and 24 trailers, so a lot of expensive equipment.
With only your name on it.
Yes.
They can kick it. They can light it on fire. They will come to Lieutenant.
I'm not trying to pay for it.
Yeah, they'll come to Lieutenant Nora. Yeah.
I'm not trying to pay for it. Nothing. So I had to, everybody's got to do those inventories, and luckily, like my inventories never took long because that's all I did as a medic was inventory all the little pieces of equipment and supply. But once I had the chance to go on mission with them, so I am out picking up and dropping off tanks. They saw like I'm able to interact with them in between work.
I feel like you were literally picking up tanks.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say? You never know. So I, getting into the actual job with them helped, and I wanted to be there. But also, this was a time where we were doing mission every single day, and mission was you got there at 5:30, and if it was a triple flip, you're getting home at 10:30. You go home just in time to shower and get back the next day. And this was every day to include weekends. Tough.
Yeah.
Long days, and they're, tired, hungry, no AC. The ACs were all burned out in our trucks, and 110 to 120 degrees in the summer of El Paso. So what I started doing was bring donuts. I would order ahead donuts, pick them up at like, $4.50 on my way, and hey guys, this sucks, but I'm here with donuts. And that was like the first that they were like, well, maybe she doesn't suck. But I think where the trust was built was if there wasn't stuff to do, and I would go to my company commander, who was also prior enlisted, so he got it. Be like, hey, what do we got? Anything? This is like 1,500. We got anything? Well, we're just kind of waiting around for, BC to do blah, blah, blah. I'm like, is it going to happen? Probably not. Okay. So I'd go back. All right, see you guys.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Later.
And I would scream at them.
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, guys, this is what I want you to do. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And they would go home. And we would stay behind. My platoon sergeant and I would stay behind. If there was anything that needed to be closed up, we took care of it. But we were out of there at a reasonable time. But I don't believe in that. Oh, God, we're just going to hang out in the cage until so-and-so tells us to finally go. It's like, come on. Like, if it's that serious, like, it would happen right now.
Yeah.
If it's not, if it can happen tomorrow, it's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we had to fight that fight a lot. I was like, we let our guys go.
Yeah.
Sorry,
sir.
But they appreciated it. Because they're not getting days off. So if they can get a block of time to go off post, burn off some steam, get something to eat, so be it.
That's awesome.
And
I love that.
It's simple.
You're just so close to making me sign up. Be my PL, Nora, please.
But I mean, it something as simple and small as that made a difference.
Yeah.
And they were able to spend time with each other outside of the truck, outside of sweating in the heat. And it bought them time to recharge. And that's why we ended up being the best platoon. I said, hey, if you get everything done, we're going to work hard. Like me and my platoon sergeant, we're doing it. We're all doing it right now. We're going to start right now. Quit fricking around, and we'll be out of here. And we were
fricking around.
We were out of there.
Yeah. I like that.
And like we would look at the other platoons and I'm like, oh man, I want to go to 3rd platoon because they're going home already.
Really? That was your platoon? 3rd platoon?
3rd platoon.
Nice.
3rd platoon 377. And
shout out, no free shout outs. No free shout outs.
And they got to a point where they wanted to come to work.
That's the goal.
They wanted to do things like nobody wants to do Soldier of the Month board. I never wanted to do Soldier of the Month board.
Yeah.
Why would I want to dress up in ASUs, regurgitate information in front of people? And I don't even want to study for that. These dudes, they wanted to do it. And then we had a soldier win it. Then everybody else wants to do it because they're getting awards. They're getting 4 days. So they ended up doing all these competitions that the brigade would have. And it was just that one little, hey, we're going to buy you some time because there's one thing that soldiers like, and it is free time. Yeah, they like their money, but they're getting paid no matter what.
Yeah.
They're getting paid if they're working 16 hours or 10.
It's the same, yeah.
So if we can give them their time, we can get their trust.
Yeah. And that's what you need.
It is. But they don't, they don't want to hear that.
No, they don't want to hear that.
And the officers on, gloating on LinkedIn about how great they are and how many books they've read.
Cool. Nerds. I don't want to hear any officer's opinion on anything, to be honest.
It doesn't take that much to be a great leader, and just being a great leader is just being a decent human being.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
It's
just a decent person.
It's funny how many officers talk about being good leaders, yet the military still sucked and they were never good at it. So I don't understand it. Good on them for like tricking people at whatever company, Amazon, whatever it is, about their ability to understand like log trains and turning that into like an operational logistics thing. But like, it's just, I'm always like, well, but like you just sign stuff, most of them. Like they don't really get into the day to day and they're so disconnected from like troops. It just always got on my nerves. But
they drink the Kool-Aid too.
Yeah. Well,
just
like Ivan. Just like Ivan. Sorry, war. Yeah, officers shouldn't marry. Yeah.
They're marrying into their merchants.
You see,
marrying
what's
into
happening is that we're allowing the listed to be officers and marry into the aristocracy.
He was
Hey,
never
good
an
job.
officer.
Yeah, he wasn't.
He was
And
never an officer.
Also, he said he was an 0 through 11 with a recon battalion. So just some background, that means he was not a recon guy. And whenever my unit would send people to other units, it's not because they were like really good at stuff. Literally. Right? So to say you're an 0 through 11 in a recon battalion is not a flex at all. It is the opposite of a flex. It's wild that he would put that out there. And then what's cool is that he tried, he's trying to troll to get a few followers and he got like 100 on Twitter. Dude, just don't. Take your phone, bounce it off some walls and keep going. Unless you're Infidel Nora, FUBAR Actual. You got so many names, which we're going to get into right when we get back. And we put the sign up because cardboard, the economy. But thank you so much, and we'll be right back. Hope you guys are enjoying the episode. If you want to continue to hear more stories like this and to help us grow the podcast, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and to also drop a rating and review. Every bit helps. Thank you so much. Now, let's get back to the episode. And we're back. We're back. It's the part you've been waiting on. The moment is here. It has arrived. We're going to talk about the lore, the legacy, all that is FUBAR, Actual, Infidel Nora, usernames, whatever. Which one do you want to go by?
I like FUBAR because I think that's very on brand.
It is very on brand. It is very on brand. You've done so much, and again, I can't thank you so much for being here. I really just appreciate you showing up in a big way on this. Like, I love the creative, and I love everything you and the boys are doing at Winch Chow. It's in an era of people making bad jokes and horrible, not funny, unattainable, wannabe content. Y'all really stick out in the crowd. The Wes Anderson era, most people don't really appreciate that. They don't deserve you.
You're right.
Just, it's so good. It's so good. Because I'm a creative nerd just trying to, like, lift weights to masculinity or something. I don't know. But I want to know, what was it like the first time where you're like, I have an idea?
And I actually do know exactly what that moment was.
I've got my origin story as well.
So
yours is way better.
It's really not that great, and I thought it was very dumb. So a little bit of backstory. 2020, get to Fort Bliss. It's, you're not allowed to go to restaurants and you can't do anything. My husband is not there with me. I have my dog and I'm in a new place. I don't know anyone. So I'm like very isolated, but I have my soldiers, and one of my soldiers is a very famous military TikToker.
Who's that?
I think his username is JoJo with some numbers, but it's Joe Guerrero. He started with MRE reviews. So
God, that's smart.
Yes.
God, that's smart.
So
why couldn't I make something evergreen like that?
We're on mission every day. They're eating MREs every day. So he just
lowest hanging fruit.
But
how many followers does he have?
Right now, I think it's 2.6 million.
I hate everything.
Yeah.
Good for you, bud.
But it was MRE reviews, and then started making videos with people in the platoon, and people loved it because it was genuine. I mean, they're having fun because they're actually friends.
Yeah.
So he was like, you should, just make a video. And eventually I did. So my video, it was during the trend of the Bus It challenge, where people, like at the drop of the song, they're in rag clothes and then they drop down to like a squat and they're in fancy clothes and dressed up.
Yes.
So I found one song. I'm going to try to explain it in a way that it makes sense, but the song just loops. There's no drop. So the caption, and I'm in uniform, the caption was, when you wear the same outfit every single day for the past 5 years. At that point, I've been in for 5, and it never drops. So I'm just like, I'm moving around, waiting for the drop, and then eventually I just sit on the ground and put my hands.
Please send me this. We're gonna clip that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that went viral.
Yeah. How many views?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. That was 3 years ago at this point. So
hit 1 million probably, something.
Probably.
Yeah. Isn't that insane? The first time something like that happens.
And I was scared.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God.
Were notifications on your phone?
Yeah. And like I
Crazy.
looked at it and it said 99 plus notifications on TikTok, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, is somebody going to get me in trouble? Because this is a time that not a lot of people in the military are on this platform. This is fairly new. This is like Charlie D'Amelio era.
Oh my God. It's your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. You started Mill Talk.
I did not start Mill Talk.
Nora started
Do
Mill
not.
Talk. It's your fault.
No,
we were winning. We were winning. No,
I did not.
Keep it. Keep it all. We're going live, actually.
For shame. So I, of course, got the backlash because 1, I'm a woman in uniform.
Yep.
And 2, I'm an officer and a brand new second lieutenant. So you can only imagine.
Back in my day.
This is what officers are doing instead of, approving my leave. And, you could imagine.
This is why. Yeah.
Oh, the barracks buddy, blah, blah, blah. So that, of course, it drives engagement, unfortunately. And then I made a few more videos, and, of course, it was more negative than positive. But unfortunately, I was in this spot like, how do I keep doing this?
Yeah.
So I did. And luckily, I had people who were already established, like Matt's All Right from Vet TV, who bought in. They liked it.
Yeah.
And I had enough support from people who mattered to keep it going. Once again, like I said, you don't do everything on your own. So I just, made the common jokes about like, the dirtbag series and stuff that people are familiar with that are common jokes. The military just put those into a skit form or put them on video, and they did well. And then I ventured into the making of the military bun, and that did well also. Yes. And it just, it took off. And I think I hit my peak when I was doing the impersonations of male and female soldiers and how they dress. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And it was like male soldiers and nobody.
Yeah.
And then it's just, the boot wearing the
I can't do it.
And the women, like the women in their fleece tops and like giving you the side eye with their Starbucks tumbler in hand. Just like common stereotypes of how people dress. And that's really what took me to the max on that.
And then you became happy with all the attention,
No,
it's a joke,
I did get in trouble A lot. At the beginning, I did, and it's interesting because at the beginning, my battalion commander is like, you're on the walking a fine line. And I did have people talk to me and counsel me on what I should and shouldn't be putting online. But at the time, there was no rules about TikTok because it's just a uncharted territory at that time.
2020 changed TikTok. It was just dancing, and then people
Yes.
were like, "Oh, there's actual videos on here."
Yes, and like skits became really popular, and now it's, I think, like informative. People are looking for product reviews and how to do something or news. So it's changed a lot over the time of 3 years. But it went from me getting in trouble to the last unit I was at Fort Bliss saying they love it. Mm-hmm. And, I did get into, because I was female representation, being called upon for what I call social justice saving. And I was tagged in a lot of videos. The soldiers are putting stuff out there that's not, you shouldn't be. And they're like low bar jokes about SA, and people tag me in that. And of course I got something to say about it, either a joke or something serious.
What's that like? I mean, like, let me rephrase this. The shift from like doing a busing challenge to having to talk about that very different subject.
At first, it's, I think, a reaction to your own personal anger and lashing out. As somebody who's been assaulted twice, it's one of those things like, you can make a joke about literally anything. This is what you go for. And, if it's never happened to you or you don't know anybody that has been affected by it, it doesn't matter to you. You just think it's hilarious.
Still can't imagine ever making a joke like that.
No, and like that's an attest to your character. But of course, like, that's a very common humor level at people everywhere. It's like they think that's hilarious. Like women suck jokes. It's like, that's the best top tier comedy you got. And it's,
well, they probably think Matt Rife is funny too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
which he's not.
But it was hard to. After a while, like I felt a need to respond to things and help. Soldiers are out there, explaining my command's not taking care of me. What do I do? Because I helped with Joel. I reached out to her when she was, she was catching heat for correcting someone. And
Joel,
Specialist Joel. Okay. She's now like fitness influencer.
That's her? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
so she started as a mill talker. She is. She's mad funny. But she also feels very passionately about that stuff. There was one video that came out where it was this guy shot his feet with his pants around his ankles. And, moving.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
That was her. She did
yes.
Okay.
So.
First off, that was fucking dumb. And it's not funny. None of it's funny.
You said it, not me.
You can say whatever you want. Fuck them. Like, it's not funny. It's like, it's derogatory. Like, I'm a husband. I'm a father. I would never, there's no area where I'm like, let's make a joke about this.
We
like
know the stereotypes.
Well, yeah, they're fucking losers.
And you don't have to remind us about the stereotypes. We hear it all of the time. Anytime we get any little bit of success, any promotion or an attaboy, it's, you must have.
What if you just weren't that fucking good and you lied to your parents about your service?
How about you just do the damn thing? Yeah. I don't know. That's just me. But
and most people lie about their service. Yes. It all starts there. Like it all starts with not this particular subject, but like this mindset of like someone did something to beat me. Like it's never, I didn't
they must
run
have had
fast
a leg
enough.
Up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't do enough things. I didn't fulfill all the educational obligations. I was like, oh, well, you're this. Like, sorry.
Well, it must have been, cheating.
Yeah.
It's always that. And I tried to do what I could for being in Texas, her being in Georgia. I did reach out to her, off of social media, but I made a video explaining like, this is just, the perception is reality bullshit leadership mentality. And this is just an unfortunate scenario that is unfolding in front of us, and we're watching it happen. And what heat she caught was, didn't make any sense. I get it. She's putting stuff out there that they think is offensive, but I I ended up in the Task and Purpose article about her, and I was scared because they put my video excerpt and a little blurb about me in there about the situation.
Who interviewed you?
So no one. They just took what I said from
Okay.
my video. It wasn't negative, but I was afraid. I show up in Task and Purpose. I know people see that outlet as a genuine outlet. And my battalion commander pulled me out of, we were doing, I think, like some field training exercise prep on staff. And he pulled me in to his office and showed me the article. He scrolls down and all I see is my face. He's like, you're in Task and Purpose. And I'm like, my heart sinks. I'm like, oh, this is it.
It is the new military times.
And I'm like, this is the moment I get kicked out. And I'm like, yep, sir. I said that. Whatever you got. And he's like, congratulations. And that was the moment I was like, wow, how the turntables, just I cannot believe I'm getting support for voicing my concerns and my standpoint on what we should be doing. And he sent it up to the brigade commander, who also co-signed it. And I was like, wow, maybe the Army is moving in the right direction.
And hopefully society will follow.
Yes. And you do see, because the Army is utilizing social media influencers and kind of opening up more to Instagram and use of TikTok and trying to reach people on that certain level. There's definitely a lot of work to be done, but that was a very interesting turn of events, considering a year prior I was getting yelled at for what I was posting. And I did not really, I tried to keep the same kind of mentality, but I did find myself falling down that hole of I need to help everyone. And that's what my content ended up being. And I need to stick back to the jokes and what's making me laugh and making others laugh. But it is hard because you feel kind of like obligated to help people. And that, goes back to like my whole core is like, what can I do now? People are looking to me because I have this platform size and they want me to put a message out there. I'm like, that's, and it's not to say like I'm a big influencer, but I have skin in the game. And I just felt like I needed to contribute to that. After a while, I did stop because it's like, what do you want? I can't do anything. This is above my level. I can only speak about it, but people are tired of hearing what I have to say about the issue. They understand it. So I just stopped doing that. I stopped contributing to the social justice push of supporting women in the military. And I just think like by me continuing on, despite having a kid, getting out of active duty, doing the National Guard thing, I'm still in it. And I'm not letting people, because they say, resign your commission. That's all I hear. Resign your commission. You're a terrible officer. Blah, 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 just because like I act like a normal human being. I have normal views and I'm not on LinkedIn, showboating like my accomplishments because that shit doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I take this uniform off. What do I have? Not an ARCOM, not an MSM. Who gives a shit about that?
Yeah.
I know people do care about that. And like people with serious medals should feel proud about those moments. But like, what did I make anything better? Did I change? Did I leave something better than when I found it? And eventually I did have to stop doing that because it was like taking a little bit of a toll on me because I felt guilty. I'm like, oh man, all these stories, like I can't do anything. What can I do?
You think you're going to, do you think you're going to continue to try to be that voice when you can, or does
yeah,
just as not to, I don't want to take away any I have the smallest people send me stuff 24/7 365 of GoFundMe's in particular, and I have a hard standing rule of unless I can find the exact person and know them through at least a personal level, I'll promote it. But I mean, there's a documentary about the couple that faked the whole Marine gas station thing, and so I'm just not going to do it 9 times out of 10, or if it's going to an organization. And it does become hard when you have that influx of people being like, please, and you're reading it, and it can feel like you're drowning, in my opinion, because it's like, what is nothing good happening?
Yeah, it does.
Right?
It puts a dark cloud over everything, and you're like, wow, like I started this as a joke, and I was just making jokes, and now it's like it's serious. And people from random duty stations are like, can you re-enlist me? Which is like, yeah, I'll do that for you. But after a while, it's like, hey, you know, I do appreciate, I have soldiers and airmen and sailors reach out and ask me about, I'm in this situation, how would you handle it? I feel comfortable giving that advice. But when it comes to a public announcement, right? This situation happened, or this article or this video comes out, they tag me, and what do you have to say about it? And I feel like
you're wrong.
Yeah, well, that also, but what makes what I'm saying more important than what all of you have to say? So clearly you're tagging me, you know something's wrong.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to come from me.
It's tough too, especially like we just talked about before, like the whole Snoke thing. Snoke's like, who cares if your name's right or wrong? I don't care. It was just somebody trying to get attention. But like, so I think it was Sierra Paoli who was like, what if his goal was just to bring us all together? And I was like, maybe he's the hero. Like, what if he is? But like in my core, as someone who comes from like a lower class, working class background where people would treat me less things, I didn't have a father and call me names that I dare not repeat. Like when he's like enlisted, going into officer world, like we're beneath them. Like I was like, man, something like a part of me like awoke to just pure anger. But like what you're talking about, the things that you're receiving, it's just like, can I be this person? Can like what? And I always think about like, what if I'm wrong? Well, not even what if I'm wrong. What if I'm not right all the way?
Yeah.
And then like you turn possibly the world against someone.
And it got to that point there. Okay. The videos that I was talking about where it was male soldiers or female soldiers and then nobody, and I'm dressing as the stereotype.
Yeah.
Those appeared in a equal opportunity briefing at Fort Bliss for National Guard and Reservists pre-mobbing.
Pre what? What does that mean? I
It's
don't speak Army that well.
sorry. It's
No.
You go through like in processing before you deploy. So they're doing some range time. They're doing classes. Yes.
Okay.
So they were, I don't know who, and I tried to find out who it was so I could stop them, but they were saying that I was a case and that I was being investigated. I was not.
Why?
And I made sure to contact my JAG officer, the PAO, my battalion commander, and make sure that everything that I was putting out there was kosher. Of course, I don't want to offend anybody, but it's like I'm wearing jeans and a company T-shirt with dip in my pocket.
Yeah, you look cool.
You think I'm like, I'm not preventing you from getting any success in the Army.
Yeah.
I'm just making fun of how you dress.
Yeah, cool
Newsflash,
outfit.
I own those clothes.
Yeah.
So if anything, I'm making fun of myself. But that was people, I guess, had, and by people, it was probably men because that's what they said.
Always men.
Reported me for EO violation for those videos. And they were using it in the class saying that I got in trouble. And it wasn't true. I was never investigated. I wasn't even aware that they were using these things. So, and I only found out about this because one of my followers on Instagram was like, hey, I'm pre-mobbing right now with whatever National Guard. And they're using your videos and saying that you're under investigation. I was like, what the hell is this?
You don't want to be like her. Good to go?
Yeah. And I talked to another, I'm not going to name him, but another current creator. And he, when I met him for the first time, he's like, oh my gosh, you're totally different. I thought you just hated men. And it's like, men are at the butt of my joke on a lot of things because of the nature of the organization. Women, this much. Men, this much. Mm-hmm. So who's going to make up the majority of the stereotype? It's you guys.
It's the same reason I make boot camp jokes more than anything. Infantry jokes. Everyone goes to boot camp. If I just go, isn't that like boot camp? People are like...
Yes.
Or if I'm like, infantry's the best, we're the only heroes, they're like, shut up. Like it just doesn't work. But I do understand what you're saying as well too.
And it's and a lot of my content ended up being reactionary, not in the sense that I'm reacting to a video in general, but they were videos about me. There were mostly there were some women that I made sure to like respond to, but there were a lot of male soldiers and male service members making videos, really being nasty to me. And I'm not going to take that lying down. Like, I'm going to say something.
No,
so I can see how that looks like I'm attacking men when I'm just responding to who says things about me. And it unfortunately just ends up being men who tell me that I'm weak, incompetent, can't do the job, I'm a whore, like without, that's just all they've got because that's all they, hear. And unfortunately, it's just the way it is. I get it. I know we're trying to change everything.
Yeah,
I
but
know.
It's just like, pure weakness is trying to find strength in taking down others. Like, it's just, why can't you do? Well, your jokes aren't funny. You're not that creative. I don't know. But what it comes down to at the end of the day is most people are not going to take the shot because they're scared to fail, whatever that is in life. Make a video, interview for the job, try to get, a certain runtime. And it makes me insane. Like, I honestly am getting to a place now where I'm minimizing my interaction with people who aren't trying something. Does that make sense? Because, like, if you're not trying something to succeed or push your limits or boundaries, whatever it is, personally, professionally, emotionally, and intellectually, I don't want to hear anything from you because you haven't failed. If you haven't failed, then you're not trying. Like, this is insane. We're here right now. That's what got me here.
You're right.
Right? And you just busting got you here, right? But, like, ultimately, it was just a goof. It was just, I was bored. Like, I should still be in healthcare talking about, like, stuff like that, running program management or something. You should be doing other things. But ultimately, without trying to do something, you're never in a place where you're really going to affect change. Does that make sense? That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I'm just trying to, make jokes, but it got to a point where everything is hyper criticized, and I get it. Again, I don't care what they say. Like, I'm going to give it right back. And that's where the problem is they're willing to tell you you're dumb. But when I say, well, you're dumber, that's where the problem is. Like, oh, matching my energy, can't do this. I'm going to report you. And that's what they ended up doing. They would call my units and stuff and try to get me
What a bunch
trouble.
of sheepdogs.
Yeah, lions out here. But I don't know. I don't want to like get too far into this, but
No, I can't even imagine. Like, I found some stuff, and I shouldn't say it on. Let's just call it the worst part of the internet. It rhymes with schmedit, but which is funny because all of you think you're like awake because you're on the most highly commercialized platform there is, but you're pretending because all the top forums or subreddits are actually run by the same people. So maybe look into that, but. I'd been kicked out of the veteran subreddit because I said I was promoting stuff because I didn't lie about my service. I just put a post.
Yeah.
But then there were people talking about my tattoos and my body in a way that that fascinates me to this day.
Yeah.
And I'm just a guy.
I learn a lot of stuff about myself on Reddit.
I can only imagine what people say about you. You're a woman.
It's
you
weird.
have opinions. You're an officer. You're athletic. Like,
yeah.
You're like hitting they're like moderators are like gearing up to be like,
the military is the most masculine job a woman can have. She cannot do it. It's a lot of it's like really gross, like weird stuff that I wish I'd never read. And then a lot of it's like very harmful. It could like, it's a lot of slander. Like, well, she made a video about telling another soldier to, end it all. And it's like, if I did, the internet's forever. This video, at my standpoint on social media,
I would have said something about that.
Somebody would see it.
Yeah, I would have
Somebody would
literally
screen
said something.
record it.
Yeah.
Shocker that you don't have this for proof, but it's harmful, and it's like people are willing to do whatever it takes to take you down because they just they don't agree with something you say. Maybe it's just like, I just don't like you because you exist.
No wonder people don't want to hire us for jobs. Like, who could have guessed?
And I don't get why it's so competitive, and it's like, you can't be miserable. I'm miserable. I have to be the most miserable person. And, I've suffered the most. I've had the hardest times. I have the most hardships. You cannot even compare to mine. And that's what ends up being the veteran community, is like, who can one up each other on the most trauma. And that doesn't make any sense to me, but it works in our benefit because we play off of it. And that's where I went down that whole road of like, let me see how far I can push people. And that's what I end up doing, is like, I'm almost never serious. You'll know when I'm serious, but I will push you and see how far you can go, to the point where a lot of them like delete their accounts or like go private. And that's where
this is not you going first. This is them attacking you.
I'm never going to seek somebody out. This is a reaction.
Right?
It's I will respond to you. So
that's where I got with you, because I deep dive. People are like, she's saying this stuff, and I'm like, no, she's just replying to people saying things to her. Yep. It's not her fault. She's glazing them like they're dumb. All their photos are like this, and then like a woodland camos, because they're olds, and they have like the M16 when it was 15, like whatever. They shouldn't even be online to begin with.
It's those boomers, but and that's where I went down with like the fake Navy SEAL thing, and it was so it's so obviously like a joke and satire, because I'm saying stuff that doesn't make any sense. I was like, yeah, I'm a Navy SEAL, and I'm doing, like, who announces, first of all, on a public platform that they're a Navy SEAL? And secondly, I'm doing a border mission down in El Paso. Why would a Navy SEAL be doing that? That doesn't make any sense.
It honestly sounds like Navy SEAL. Like, that's the most Navy SEAL story I've ever heard.
And I ran with that, because people were making videos trying to disprove. I checked all the classes. I see your name, and there never been a female.
Listen up, guys. Welcome to Wolf Talk, and we're going to talk about Infidel Nora today. And you might know her as Bud's Class 210. We all know she's stolen valor. But first, here's our sponsor, BlueChew.com.
Yeah, exactly. My pillow. And it's and it's I was photoshopping. Not photoshopping. I was using Instagram Create to put my head on. I would take my husband's deployment pictures and just put my head on his body.
Would what? Hey, break it. Stealing about. Go ahead. You would steal your husband's photo.
But that's what I was doing.
That's the best part. Your face is like this, and he's like that.
Yeah, and it's totally different colors. And like I'm like, yep, here's me in Afghanistan. And it got to the point where I was. The joke went, I invented JROTC. And this guy was like, you did not invent JROTC. JROTC was there before you were even alive. And I respond to it, and I could not keep together. I was like, I'm very real. Or how did I get this tan tea? And that's all I could get out. Yeah. And he eventually deleted everything he made.
I'm sorry about that comment. You don't have to bring it up. But
I could not believe that they took the bait. It was so blatantly fake.
Yeah. I think, and stop me, of course, if I'm wrong here. I think a lot of my bread and butter, and definitely yours as well, too, is that just taking the stuff people say recklessly without thought or any consequence and being like, you wrote it. You wrote it. Like, I'm just like, it really is an evergreen supply of people being like, back in my day.
Yeah, it's classic.
Or like, just taking like takes on the news and stuff, which I try to get away from stuff that's time sensitive, just because like the algorithm, it might push it today, it might push it a month from now, and then you'll be like, who's commenting on this? Yeah. Like, why are they still there? But like, it's just the way people see stuff.
Yeah.
But you have done something even better, is that you found a tribe.
Yeah.
My favorite tribe.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so good. And I'm going to give y'all as much flowers as I can, because I don't think it'll be something that people will talk about for a while, but like these multiple different parts of Wench Chow coming together. I don't want to say their names out loud. So just go ahead and say, we got King Picks, you.
King Picks Media.
Yep.
Mandark, and myself.
Yeah, I was going to say y'all's non-internet names, because I don't want to do that. But you've made this like motley crew of creators that it's just like it's so good. It's so good. Chef's Kiss. It's just, I love it. I love all. There's some simplicity to it that's undeniable. But like I said, the Wes Anderson series is one of my favorites. Just all the different things you're doing. Y'all need to like co-locate somehow.
And we were two parts of us. So Mandark and I were both at Fort Benning at the same time. And then he went off to his next duty station. Then I moved. So that hurts a lot. But I'll be able to travel a little bit more now once he's back. So we're working on that, and he's, Mandark's about to retire here soon, and he wants to that's full time.
That's crazy. I'm actually really excited for him.
I am too, and I am excited for his next duty station. He's gonna have a lot of fun, and we're trying to do some more stuff together. We had a little reunion, I guess first time meeting each other in May, and that was a lot of fun. But
is that when you shot all those videos? And that's the way to do it too. People don't realize you make stuff. I do this all the time now. I make stuff, and I'm like, I did that in May. That was so dumb. But that's how you just put it all together.
Yeah.
Because someone told me that's how The Price is Right is filmed. They film it over the course of 3 monts.
Oh my gosh.
That's a whole year.
I had no idea.
So they just set it up, and they're like, Happy Thanksgiving. And then a week later, they're like, Merry Christmas. But it makes sense because it's all kind of the same thing. And if you hit topics that can run forever, it's golden.
It's just, it's so random how it started. And it was just again, it started as a joke. I mean, I started following Mandark when he was, just starting up, and he was doing Boot Boy, and I thought it was so funny. And King Pix Media was doing a similar thing with, I forget the name of his, but he was doing the range bits.
Yeah.
And they were relatable. They made sense, and they were super funny. And this new element using using a digital SLR, doing actual camera work and editing, I liked it a lot. So I was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing the same kind of thing. We were just following each other. And then the chow bit really took off. People loved that little catchphrase, get off my range, and when's chow? And people are like, hey, can I get a shirt with this?
Yes.
We're going to be those guys that make a merch line? Come on.
Yeah.
Following the pipeline.
Yeah.
But,
I'm thinking coffee. Yeah.
We were considering it, and we were like, hey, maybe we should do this. Maybe just get them the shirts. And we didn't know how to source it ourselves. It's merchandise.
It's very, very hard.
It's a lot, and it's above us. We really like to learn more about editing and photoshopping, that kind of stuff. Not so much clothing and pricing and all that. And
then how are you going to compete with Kilo and all those everyone they're all from the same company now, House Party Distro out of Vegas, but all those hype brands. I mean, and you see people like Finance and Maneuver who's just bodying everyone, and it's just that's a whole different brain. You can't have both brains. I don't think you can. I don't know anyone who does both.
We don't do it. We brought somebody on who doesn't appear in videos. I think he should because he's funny. But he was also at SFAB with Mandark, and he worked for 3M doing that kind of stuff. So we had somebody, a subject matter expert, come in, and he got it done for us. And he's doing his raid group. He makes clothing as well, but also vests, kits. And they're all custom, and we're like, we like your product. He liked our content. So we married the two together, and we were able to get the clothing out, and he's constantly coming up with new ideas and helping us brainstorm, which I think is really important. And then we came up with, the patches and doing the PNGs for the new things, trying to put a twist on the 82nd unit patch and how do we make that one's chow. So it's a good creative outlet on that front, and it's also funny. People think it's funny, and we like to run into people who know about it and just give them the sticker or whatever. And it's and people ask me about it all the time. They're like, when's chow? What does that mean? And I hope that they have a military background, but if they don't, it's really hard to explain. But
I'm hungry.
Yeah. It's like the morale of the military is food. So
it usually equals that you're done doing a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. When are we going to take a break? Yeah.
Without oh man, I just gave a company name away. Welcome to Index Firearms.
Yeah. But it's just we have a group chat running. We're always coming up with content ideas, and it's just fun. I can genuinely say I like these people on a personal level.
Yeah.
And I can just hang out with them without making content. It's not like, oh, we just like each other because we make content and that's all we do.
And that's
like,
really rare, honestly, because you'll meet a lot of people in this space and you're just like, some are like that, which is the best. And then others you're like, are they filming right now? 'Cause
Yeah.
I swear I'm going to bounce that phone off the wall. Like, can we not just like sit here for a minute? Like,
Yeah.
I can't be in an Instagram story right now or something like that.
Right.
And then it just becomes like, that's their whole thing, is trying to gather and capture and upsell and present and, peacock as a means to get whatever they want. But then you're just like, dude, now we can't be friends anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, because they're so opportunistic to where like, you're like, that sucks. That's one more. You just like cut them out. That's the only way I know to do it.
And maybe that's why I'm not very good at social media and can't be super famous, is because
Who would wanna be famous?
No, not me. No.
Was it
I
Bill
already
Murray?
catch enough heat as is.
Bill Murray said, everyone thinks they want to be famous. Just try being wealthy. Something like that.
Yeah.
Same. I'd prefer that. Like, walk through an airport, nobody know who I am, just travel with a wallet and a cell phone. That seems like, I'll get it when I get there.
Yeah.
Like that seems like the best way to do it.
No. I will never get to that, and I don't even think like I'm that big of a creator as is. I don't, and I don't really prioritize that anyway. When have you seen me take a picture since I've been here?
No, and I'm upset about it.
You know what I mean, though? Like, that's not my initial reaction, is like, I need to document this.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the thing I hate, because you're just like,
yeah, I don't.
I'm not ready yet.
No,
Like,
I don't see it.
I don't know
that
if
way.
my producer wants to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's stuff where like these lines where you have to be like, hey, can you, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what's tough, because like everyone kind of wants the shine, the attention, whatever, until they get it. But then you get it, and then it shows everything. Everyone wants that light, but then they don't realize once you got it, it amplifies the good, the bad, the ugly, everything.
Your life will never be private.
Yeah, ever again. And so, like, is that something you want? Like, I'll talk about my family, but like in very small anecdotal senses, or like stuff that happened when my kids were like 5, not what they are now, because they didn't choose this, I did. So it's been something we've been having to grow with, as you know, as a new mom, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have a child and everything
I
else.
was lying about his name for a long time.
You can still, I'm not going to say it because I don't know how you want it to be referred to, right?
I think people know, because I posted on Instagram his name now, but when he was first born, people were like, what's his name?
I've never had, I would ask you his name, right? Because we know each other.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine asking like a random follower, being like, is that really the kid's name?
Yeah. I say like outlandish names like Jimothy.
Yeah. Seems good. Jimbo? Jimothy?
John Jacob.
Jingleheimer Smith?
That was
His
the
name
first
is-
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like to go with like really outlandish names. And they're like, oh, yeah. Okay.
Cool. But I would still never ask a stranger that.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't either, but you're at the mercy of the internet. It's going to happen.
Yeah. I always have this thought, like, something that could help us all. Like, comments being public isn't enough, but what if, I think about this a lot, like, what if I could if you agree to message me, you also agree to me being like, at any given moment, I can press show the world your interactions. I think that would like really eliminate people's recklessness. Like,
Probably.
if all, instead of like screenshots, if it was like, oh, these are all now public, like as a thread, it'd be like, what did Zach send Nora? Like, boop, and then like everyone can see it, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Because that's where I find people dehumanize and disconnect, and I don't get it.
I get you. I totally get you.
Yeah. But all that matters when you got Chow, though.
Chow is forever.
Chow is forever. Chow is continuous.
Chow is exactly.
Chow is continuous.
Nothing's better than Chow.
Then maybe setting a new record on a 10-mile run,
Hey.
some would say.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Now that you're in your runner era, right? What?
Yeah.
Dude, I can say era. I've bought a small fortune in Taylor Swift tickets. I can say it till the end of time. What's next? Where do you want to go? Because I know you talked about not creating, and I'm all about, I get in these habits where I consume too much, create
Right.
too little, vice versa, and
Right.
now I'm in my create too much, consume too little.
Well, I've been waiting to like get in the groove of my new job, and once I've learned my job, I can reshift back to making content. But I don't know what that's going to mean for me, because I'm very much still part of Once Chow, and I'm still in the military. I want to make those. I have a list. I write down ideas because I'm overactive mind, and I'm always writing down content ideas that I just don't have the time right now to make. So I will eventually come back because I want to be deliberate about it. I don't want to just, make a shit post with my phone. I want to get back to filming with my camera and editing and all of that, but I just don't have the time right now. But it's also like I have it in my head. Sounds ridiculous, but I think I'm going to be an elite runner. I'm faster now than I ever was before having a kid and when I was younger. I'm older now. I've had a kid. I had to have surgery, all this stuff. It was catastrophe. And I really do think I can run. I'm going to run a marathon in October. I'm doing it in 3 hours, which is an insane time.
Yes, that is insane.
But
the
I think
world
I can do
record's
it.
like 2 hours.
I know.
Yeah, the guy just said it.
An Olympic qualifying time for a woman is 2 hours and 37 minutes. And I think that I could eventually do it in a few years. I think I can.
I think so too.
I really do.
honestly think anything's possible.
I've never tapped into like training like that. I've only just run to like see how far I could go or just for fun. I've never trained for time.
Training?
Yeah, I've never I ran a marathon in El Paso in February 22 without any training. It was like 4 hours and 40 minutes, I think.
I mean, that does make sense. I mean, you're so like you have such a background in athletics and stuff that like you
it's like muscle memory.
You understand like
Right.
I can put this to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's gonna suck when I get to like 18 miles or so.
Yeah, that won't be fun. Yeah.
But like I can like mentally push through it, and I like just something like that. Like I can just do it. I truly think I can like be super good at it. I'm gonna have to shed some weight to be competitive, but because that's just like the nature of the
That's
sport.
what happens when your body shifts towards that. When
Right.
that's the goal, that's what happens. Yeah.
But that's something that I have put on the docket as this is something I have to do. I have to explore this because I have never tapped into. I do have a talent for running. I mean, not a lot of people can say they like. I came off of COVID. Like I had COVID in January, did no training, and was like, shit. I signed up for this marathon. I paid $100. I got to do it. And I went out there, and like El Paso's tough. Like the elevation sucks. And I was like, man, I'm not ready for this, but I gotta do it. I gotta send it. And I did it. And I got like a decent time. Like people who have trained like finished after me. I mean, 4 hours and 40 minutes is long. That was long. But yeah, 3 hours by October. I've already got my 10 mile time. No, my 10K time down 46 minutes.
How did you? All right, I need you to tell me this real quick as we're starting to wrap up. But like, how did you get that? I know what do you do, like your Stairmaster stuff.
No.
What? Just running?
I was just running.
You just running?
Yeah, I'm just
no
like, yeah, I'm
secret?
just gonna go a little bit faster. So I'll get on the treadmill. I like to do the treadmill because I can like see what I'm doing and how fast I'm going. And I said last week I started at 7.5. This week I'm gonna start at 7.6, and I bump it up. I do like tempo runs every time, so I just bump it up a little bit more every half mile, and eventually I'm ending my run at like 8.5 miles per hour.
On a treadmill.
On a treadmill, and that's the best way I can like measure that. And then I go outside, and it translates because I do put the incline on the treadmill. But
How much?
either 0.5 or 1%.
So you have real world applicability because that's what most people were like. It's the same,
Right.
unless you got one of those assault. Is it assault that makes
The
them?
one that
Self-propelled?
you self-propelling, yeah. And,
Which I like because it doesn't hurt your knees.
Yes, I do like those. It's like running on a cloud, but I don't have that. I have Planet Fitness. So
Yeah. No, they're hard to. I mean, they're
Yeah.
like $6,000.
yeah, they're very like CrossFit gyms and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't
But
do
if you're
that.
going to sponsor someone, you should sponsor Nora here. Assault, if you're listening, throw it this way.
Yeah,
It'd be easy.
pressure's on now.
Now, ball's in your court.
But yeah, so I just go a little bit faster each weekend. I like to do on Saturdays. I just try to beat my last time. I'm not doing any formal training right now. I just run. And I'm like, it's gonna suck. It's gonna feel tough each week, but I just get there.
Let's just get there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Olympics. I'm gonna say it now. Speak it to existence.
A buddy of mine I was in the Marines with was in the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean they have
I really
a whole.
didn't think it was going to happen, and then he got in there. Anything is possible.
The Army has a whole team that just does that, just trains, and I think 3 years from now I could be that.
I think so too.
If I stuck with it, I think so. Because I'm not doing any training. I'm already like, there's an app, and it'll tell you based on what your current times are, what you're projected to run
What,
a marathon in
Strava?
12 weeks. No, it's I forget what the app is. It's like Run It or something. And it says right now with my numbers, I'll run it in 3 hours and 30 minutes. And my marathon isn't until October. So like, I'll probably run a marathon in March and do it at 3:30, and then October, 3 minutes or 3 hours, and try to get it lower than 3 hours.
Yeah. I think so too. Usually I ask everyone what's next, but you definitely know what you're going to do.
Boston Marathon.
Boston Marathon's coming. What
Seriously.
else? I believe it, dude. No, I know.
Qualify this year.
No, I know.
I know I can. You only need 3 hours.
I
and
would
30
bet on you.
minutes.
It's too easy. I mean, I wouldn't bet on you to lose. I would bet on you to win.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's common themes here I'm picking up, and I don't feel like you speak into existence because like you're gonna do it. I think that's what one of the things I don't have any real goals sometimes with this stuff, but I hope people take that away. Is that like that's one of the things you're like, I'm doing this, so I'm getting that. I'm doing this, so I'm getting that. Right?
I can't not do it.
Yeah. Well, but you've harnessed it as opposed to like letting it kind of that energy or that desire, whatever you want to call it, get a hold of you in the negative ways. You're like, let's put it towards this. Let's shift. Because I think it all comes from the same place, the creative, the drive, the whatever.
Yeah.
And if you don't hold on to it, like it'll mess you up. It'll pull you in the wrong direction. But you've obviously harnessed your power.
Imagine what I could do if I channeled all that into content.
You'd be burnt out in about a year.
Definitely.
You'd be burnt out in about a year, and you would like resent every time you looked at your phone. That's reality.
Yeah.
But that's because I've done it, and you like look at it. Like I have dreams. Sometimes I'll pick it up, and like it says phones no longer work, and I go, oh well. And I
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
I'm just like, I put on overalls and I like go out to a farm, and I just like return to the wild.
Yeah.
Like and never look back.
You
Which
go
is
and touch grass.
every single day. That's my goal. When my kids graduate high school, I will like literally start over. And I hope no one ever knows who I am.
Yeah.
Like, just maybe I'll still be doing this. This is the one thing I want to keep doing because I want to continue to show people what you can do in the military outside and ways to find peace beyond the battlefield, wherever it is.
Yeah.
But beyond that, that'll be it. I'll come in and be like, oh yeah, I gotta do this today. Like that's the goal.
Dang, I never talked about my job.
Tell us about your job. We still got time.
So the common pipeline for officers that get out of active duty. Do you know?
No.
So they either get their MBA.
Yes, like I did. Actually, I do know that. Yeah. Yeah.
And they could become like a finance bro or whatever. Or they go into real estate.
Yeah.
Which one do you think I did?
You went to real estate?
I went into real estate.
How was that?
I don't know anything about the industry.
Neither does any other realtor.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the guy that was my S2 at 22nd Chem, he was a real estate agent while he was there. He started when he was at Carson, West Pointer. Decided he was going to go into the loan side. So he started a brokerage company with another officer buddy that got out. He got out from regiment. And then my S1 at the chemical battalion is a loan processor with us. Okay. So it's 7 of us, and we're all veterans, and we deal with VA loans.
That's awesome.
And that's just what we do.
What's the company called?
Evolution Mortgage.
Evolution Mortgage. Can people find out about it by going to evolutionmortgage.com?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. And you're saying that Evolution Mortgage is veteran-owned and operated and specializes in VA home loans?
It sure is.
Man.
Because we know the interest rates are not hot right now.
They're the opposite of hot.
They are not hot. And if you go to, big loan lender ABC 123, they're not going to fight for you to get the lowest rate because they're big guys.
I couldn't agree with you more. Let me speak on that a little bit. And I'm not mansplaining. I'm telling you my truth. I don't want to get canceled.
Zach was mansplaining. Nora.
No, so in 2011 when I got out, I tried to get a VA home loan, and the market was horrible, but Nashville had a lot of cash and opportunity because of that flood money that came in. And so they literally pulled an encyclopedia out and were like, we've never done a VA home loan ever.
Yeah.
And they had no education on it, blah, blah, blah. Long and short of it is we ended up doing a 7-year ARM just because we refinanced and everything, which worked out the best for us at that time. But it baffled me how little education there was on it, right?
Yes.
In 2011, 2012. Jump cut 5 years maybe or less, I'm getting junk mail about it. About the VA home loan and all this stuff. And then now we're kind of in that same cycle again where people don't understand. So if a company like Evolution Mortgage, which you can find out more at evolutionmortgage.com, can help that and fight for veteran military homeowners, then I'm all about that.
Yeah. I definitely had an experience that was kind of similar. And when we went to buy our first home, and I just went to, the bank in the area and, hey, I'm going to use my VA loan. Okay, yeah, we've done that before. Asking for my husband's DD-214 while he wasn't out yet. And I'm like, he's not out.
Yeah.
well, he can't use it until he's out. I'm like, that's not correct. If that were true, nobody active duty would be able to buy a home. So that let me know that like no one actually knows. Yeah, and they try to bully you out of using it, because she tried to bully me out. She's like, well, sellers don't like to use VA loans because they have certain inspections they got to do, and they're difficult. They're not.
They're not difficult.
They're not.
Inspections
sometimes preferred.
They're called protections, is what they are. So they're looking into how viable an asset is. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But she was trying to push me to conventional, and I was like, no, not doing that. So I went with somebody else, and it's almost like predatory to a certain degree. They're like trying to, wheel and deal you. Well, no one's going to accept your VA loan because it's difficult. That's like, come on. The seller of our home ended up preferring us over other buyers because we were a VA loan. And he's worked with them and knows they're legitimate and kind of reliable. And so this company is really striving to make it fair, and that's the name of the game in lending. Is it fair?
Yeah. Is
it equal? So they actually care about getting you what you need because they've been there, and I know a lot of times spouses are having to buy on behalf of their deployed or off in Korea. The person actually using the loan, and it's like, well, I can bring that to the table. I was the dependa for a little bit there, but they're genuine dudes. I like these people on a personal level. I've worked with them on a professional level, and I'm really excited about this company. It's small. They're in their infancy. They've only been operating for months, but they are doing very well because they, again, caring about people and their own interests. So
good. We need more of this.
Yeah.
We need more of this. I'm all about something that's helping, because like I have this belief that when you get out, they're not small steps, but there's these moments that push you down towards that downhill path, right? Not having access to care benefits. There are these moments that push you down this path, right? Not having access to care benefits, which then translates into like not being able to go to school or learn what's available to you, not being able to get the things like the VA home loans, all these different things that are like kind of like right there in front of you. But if there's not enough education around it, like you're just literally like in a hole, you don't know what to do, you're isolated. Then on top of that, none of your friends are around you. Like it's just an absolute nightmare. So anything that can like help improve quality of life.
Yeah, you worked for those benefits. It's time to reap those benefits.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally, it's what it's there for. So,
yeah, exactly.
So tell me one more time what the company is, so I want to make sure we get it right.
It is Evolution Mortgage.
EvolutionMortgage.com.
I think so, yes.
Let's just go Evolution Mortgage.
Mortgage.com.
Yeah.
It'll say LLC on the hyperlink.
Perfect. No, for real, we'll pit it in the bio. That's too easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's done. Yeah, we'll put it up. So, thank you again for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? Any wench chow?
No, we talked about a lot.
Well, I'm honored. I really, truly can't thank you enough for this. And
it's good meeting you.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us, and later.